Hey, what is up YouTube? This is Haidar, and today I want to talk to you about house hacking and how you can live for free. So whether you are actually renting an apartment or a house, or you have a mortgage on a house, there's no doubt that living in a house or an apartment is one of the highest expenses that we're spending on a monthly basis. So I want to take the time to show you what are some tricks that I did when I first started that helped me save some money until I was able to afford getting my own house and my own place. No, this video is not gonna tell you to live with your parents, and no, this video is not gonna tell you to find somebody where they can pay the rent and you can just stay home. There's actually a fundamental way of doing this, and there's two type of options. Now the first option is you smashing that like button so you can help me out with the YouTube algorithm. No, in all seriousness though, first option is you getting some single houses. So for example, you would go find a single house that you want to rent or you want to have your own mortgage. Now when you go to the house, make sure that it has a minimum of 3 rooms. And the reason behind that is you want to stay in one room and rent 2 other. That way, if you do the math right, you know what's your mortgage payment and what is your insurance, all the expenses and utilities and all of that stuff. So let's say everything costs you included is about $1,200 a month. And now that you rent each room $600, well, now you just didn't pay anything at all, which is pretty amazing. But you're also creating net worth. You're increasing your net worth over time because these tenants are actually paying your mortgage, and every month, let's say you're paying off $1,200. I mean, by the end of the year, that's going to be a significant amount of money that you've saved on your net worth and increase, which you later on can take a loan out and you can buy another house if you wanted to and do the same thing again. Now, there's a couple also good things about having a single home when you have other tenants living with you. And that benefit is you having that single house is normally a lot cheaper for a down payment than a multi-unit. So that's something is incredibly urgent to think about when you're choosing your strategy, just because you don't want to put so much money down payment and lock your funds if you don't have a lot of capital. So if you don't have a lot of capital and you're tight on your capital or your budget, single home is probably the best option for you. But keep in mind, the downside for it is that it's going to be a little bit tricky with utility bills, because if you have you and 2 other people in the same house, you're together and you're, paying everything and using all the water and electricity and all that stuff, it's going to be very tricky to know who's the one that uses the most out of all the 3 tenants, including yourself. And therefore, you want to put worst case scenario and you divide it by 3 of you guys, and hopefully that will work out. And obviously, if there's somebody that is using excessive amount of utilities, then that's something you might want to discuss with that person. Maybe set a limit on the contract, and then if we exceed that limit, everybody needs to pay. It's just an idea of throwing it out there. Now, the second option that you have is to go with a duplex, triplex, or quadplex, right? And pretty much like it says, 2, 3, and 4. And obviously, they all charge as a residential type of property. Once you exceed 4+, once you go above 4, that's when you start getting commercial. And there's a lot of difference between residential and commercial, which I'm not going to get into in this video. But if you want to find that out, let me know in the comments below, so that way I can make another video for you guys in regards to that matter. So the way you could choose whether you want to have 2, 3, or 4 buildings in one property is your budget, right? So if you have the money and the capital, obviously your best option is to go quad on a property, just because you generate so much more net worth, and also you can potentially even earn more money than what your mortgage is if you play your numbers right? But if you're tight and you want to have 2 different units and you value your privacy, unlike a single home, you're gonna share a house, but the only private place is gonna be your room. In multi-units, you have your own house if you needed to, and there's a lot more privacy that way. So it's ideal for family members that have kids or a wife or a husband. So that way it could actually help out keep that privacy intact. Then obviously you want to choose a multi-unit. Not only that, but also it is extremely easier to know what the utilities are, separated units. Each unit has its own electric meter and heater and all that fun stuff, water, so you can always measure that. It's a lot less complex than having to measure that versus a single unit that we just discussed, which is a single house, family house. The only two issues with it is that one, it takes normally more capital. You can get lucky and find a cheaper property, but compared to a single family house, it does require higher capital as far as doing as a down payment. And of course, because it's a bigger property and it takes more space, in most cases it is more expensive in taxes, property taxes, and in insurance as well. So the thing to keep in mind is to always do the numbers, always make sure that you have a positive cash flow if you're going to take an investment. If you do that right, you'll be able to not only live for free, but you can possibly get some good cash flow, maybe $100 or $200 a month if you do your math right. I hope that helps, guys. Thank you so much for checking me out, and I look forward to talking to you